There is one move sitting right in front of the New York Yankees that could save their entire 2026 season. One decision. One phone call. One bold commitment that separates franchises that seize their moment from franchises that let it slip away while playing it safe. And on July 20th, 2026, with the trade deadline approaching fast and Aaron Judge sitting in a training room instead of the middle of their lineup, the Yankees are running out of time to make it. Every day they wait is a day the window gets smaller. Every day they hesitate is a day some other team gets bolder. This is the moment that defines front offices, defines legacies, defines whether a season gets remembered as the one that almost happened or the one that actually did. The Yankees need to hear this. And today we are going to tell them exactly what that one bold move is. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications, because this Yankees story is moving at a speed that requires you to be here every single day. The deadline is coming. The window is open. And I am covering every development the second it happens. Let's get all the way into this. Let me start by being completely honest with you about where the Yankees actually are right now, because sugarcoating the situation does not help anyone understand why the bold move is so necessary. July 20th, 2026. The Yankees are 49-44. That record is not embarrassing, but it is not where a team with New York's payroll, New York's expectations, and New York's history should be at this point in the season. They are 3 games behind the Baltimore Orioles in the AL East. They are clinging to a wild card position that 3 other teams are actively trying to take from them. And their best player, Aaron Judge, the 2-time MVP, the captain, the man the entire offensive structure was built around, is in a training room dealing with cascade injuries that Brian Cashman recently admitted will likely keep him out for the rest of the regular season. That is the honest picture. A team that was supposed to be a championship contender, operating like a wild card hope, without the player who makes them dangerous in October. In any other organization, that situation might generate a quiet acceptance of a diminished season, focus on getting healthy, let the young players develop, position yourself for next year when Judge returns. But this is the Yankees. And the Yankees do not quietly accept diminished seasons. They find a way to respond. The question is what response actually makes sense. And that is where this gets genuinely complicated and genuinely interesting. Let me tell you what the wrong responses look like first, because understanding the wrong moves makes the right move clearer. The first wrong response is panic buying, throwing first-round prospects and significant payroll at whatever the most expensive and splashiest available player is, regardless of fit or need. This is the move that feels decisive in the moment and looks desperate in retrospect. The Fernando Tatis Jr. rumor that circulated earlier today is exactly this kind of move. Enormous risk, enormous cost, enormous complications, for a player who does not solve the Yankees' specific problems in the most efficient way possible. The second wrong response is doing nothing meaningful, making minor additions that address specific needs on paper, but do not actually change the competitive reality of what the Yankees can accomplish without Judge. This is the move that protects the farm system and maintains financial flexibility, but effectively concedes the 2026 season as a transition year. The problem with this approach is that the Yankees' window does not wait politely for them to feel comfortable. The Orioles are young and improving. The Red Sox are rebuilding intelligently. The Blue Jays have elite talent. Every year the Yankees wait is a year their competitors get better. The third wrong response is the middle ground that satisfies nobody. A trade that costs enough to matter, but does not improve the roster enough to actually change the outcome. Teams make this mistake constantly at the trade deadline, acquiring solid but unspectacular players for costs that are just significant enough to sting without the acquisition being good enough to justify the pain. Now let me tell you what the right response is. The one bold move that could actually save the Yankees season before it is too late. The Yankees need to trade for a starting pitcher. Not a good starting pitcher. Not a solid rotation piece. An ace. A genuine top of the rotation force who can take the ball every fifth day and give the Yankees offense a chance to win regardless of what their lineup produces. The one bold move is trading for a frontline starting pitcher before the deadline, and the specific name that makes more sense than any other in this context is Corbin Burnes. Let me explain why Burnes specifically, and why this is the move rather than any of the other options being discussed. Corbin Burnes is one of the 5 best starting pitchers in baseball. He throws hard, he misses bats at an elite rate, he commands every pitch in his arsenal with unusual precision, and his performance under pressure has been consistently excellent at every level he has pitched. He is the kind of pitcher who changes series outcomes, who takes a game where your offense might struggle and turns it into a win because the other team cannot score either. The Yankees' current pitching situation is their actual limiting factor heading into the playoff push. Gerrit Cole has been excellent, but he cannot pitch every game. The back end of the rotation has been inconsistent in the specific situations where consistency is most necessary. In big games, against good opponents, when the offense needs the pitching to carry its weight. Adding Burnes behind Cole gives the Yankees something genuinely terrifying. 2 legitimate aces who can go toe-to-toe with any starting pitcher in either league and come out ahead. Think about what a Cole-Burnes combination means in an October playoff context. You are looking at a pitching duo that gives you genuine advantages in at least 2 of every 5 games you play. In a short series where 3 wins is the target, that kind of rotation edge is potentially decisive. Teams that have won championships consistently in the modern era have done it on the strength of multiple elite starters, who could shut down opponents when the margin for offensive error was minimal. But here is the part that makes this move so specifically right for the Yankees in their current situation. The loss of Judge has cost them offensive production that is extremely difficult to replace because Judge was not just a run producer, he was a lineup presence who changed how pitchers approached every other hitter around him. You cannot simply acquire one player who replicates what a 2-time MVP provides to an entire lineup construction. It cannot be done. The smart response to losing that kind of offensive presence is not to try to replace it offensively. It is to compensate by making it harder for the other team to score. That is exactly what Burnes does. He lowers the score the Yankees need to win. He takes games where the offense might produce 3 runs instead of 5, and turns them into wins, because the other team is being held to 1 or 2. He reduces the Yankees' dependence on offensive production by elevating their pitching to a level where production requirements become more manageable. The Brewers, Burnes' current team, are in exactly the kind of situation that creates legitimate trade conversations. They are fighting for a playoff spot but not from a position of clear strength, and their front office has shown willingness in previous years to move players who are in their final contract year rather than risk losing them in free agency for nothing. Burnes fits that profile perfectly, a player whose value is at its peak right now, whose contract situation creates urgency for the acquiring team to maximize his contribution before he potentially walks. What would it cost the Yankees to acquire Burnes? This is the bold part, and the part that separates organizations with genuine championship ambition from organizations that talk about championship ambition while protecting their asset base. Trading for a frontline ace at the deadline requires paying frontline prices. The Yankees would likely need to include multiple legitimate prospects, not the fringes of their system, but genuine top 10 organizational talent. It would be painful. It would be the kind of deal that creates immediate debate about whether the price was too high. But here is the question the Yankees front office needs to sit with honestly. What is this window worth? What is a World Series with this roster? With Cole and Gerrit at the top of the rotation, with Bellinger having an MVP season, with Judge returning healthy in 2027 to build from a foundation of proven winning, actually worth compared to the abstract value of prospects who may or may not develop into contributors 3 or 4 years from now. The Yankees have been here before. They have had windows that looked promising and felt permanent until suddenly they were gone. The 2000s dynasty ended. The 2009 championship was their last. Every year since has felt like the year they would get back, and every year something has prevented it. The front office has to reckon honestly with the fact that windows are not permanent, and that the cost of inaction can exceed the cost of bold action when the moment is right. Brian Cashman has made bold moves before. He has also been criticized for moves that prioritized caution when aggression was warranted. The Burnes trade would be the definition of aggression, the kind of move that makes a statement not just about the 2026 season, but about the organization's belief in its own window and its willingness to commit fully to seizing it. The timing argument is also critical and worth spending real time on. The trade deadline is approximately 10 days away. Every day that passes is a day another team could be acquiring Burnes. The Dodgers want pitching. The Phillies want pitching. The Braves always want pitching. If the Yankees wait too long trying to find the most comfortable possible price, they risk watching Burnes go to a competitor, turning a potential advantage into a potential problem in October when they face whoever acquired him. Moving early, before the deadline market fully develops, before every other team has had time to evaluate their needs and assemble their packages, gives the Yankees potential leverage. The Brewers might prefer closing a deal quickly with a known buyer at a fair price over running a full auction process that creates uncertainty. Quick and clean benefits both sides when both sides can agree on value. Let me also address the argument that the Yankees should wait for Judge and not make major moves based on a roster situation that will look different in 2027. This argument sounds reasonable but misses something important about how baseball windows actually work. The Yankees right now have Cole pitching at an elite level. They have Bellinger having a historic season. They have a roster built around players who are contributing at their highest levels simultaneously, and that kind of alignment across a roster is genuinely rare and genuinely temporary. By 2027, some of these players will be older. Some will be in different performance phases. The specific combination of excellence that exists on this team right now may not exist in the same form next year. The bold move is not about panicking over Judge's injury. It is about recognizing that the current team, with the right addition at the top of the rotation, is good enough to win right now. And winning right now matters more than perfectly positioning yourself for a hypothetical better future team that may or may not come together the way you hope. Gerrit Cole's reaction to the idea of pitching alongside an ace-caliber partner would be fascinating and instructive. Cole has spoken publicly throughout his career about the importance of depth at the top of the rotation in playoff baseball. He understands from competing against teams with multiple elite starters how different that feels from being the only ace on a staff. Cole would be the loudest internal advocate for this move if anyone asked him honestly. The position players would respond to it too. When a front office makes a bold move that says, "We believe in this team enough to pay this price," it changes how players view their own season. It signals that the people making decisions at the top level believe a championship is genuinely achievable rather than theoretically possible. That belief is contagious, and it shows up in performance in ways that are real even if they are difficult to quantify. The fan reaction to a Burnes acquisition would be electric. Yankees fans who have been dealing with Judge's absence, with the uncertainty of the playoff race, with the grinding reality of a season that has not gone as planned, they need something to believe in. Not just the promise of Judge returning someday. A concrete, visible, undeniable commitment that the organization is all in on this season. A Burnes trade provides exactly that kind of concrete statement. Let us also think about the opponent perspective, because that matters enormously in playoff baseball. Teams preparing to face the Yankees in October are currently building game plans around Cole and an inconsistent back-end rotation. They are identifying the games where they can steal wins because they have rotation advantages. Add Burnes to that equation, and their game plan gets dramatically more difficult. You now have to navigate Cole and Burnes in every series, and there is no comfortable spot in that rotation where the opposing offense can exhale and expect to score freely. The defensive infrastructure behind this pitching addition also deserves acknowledgement. The Yankees have genuine defensive quality up the middle, the kind of glove work that turns potential hits into outs and keeps pitchers' pitch counts manageable. Burnes pitching behind this defense would be a terrifying combination for opposing lineups because his ground ball tendencies and strike throwing ability complement the defensive quality perfectly. Timing the acquisition correctly within the market is also worth discussing in detail. The first week of trade deadline season typically involves lots of conversation and limited actual movement as teams assess their positions. The second week is when deals start accelerating and prices start crystallizing. The Yankees should be trying to close a Burnes deal in the first week, before the market fully develops, before competing bids drive the price to its maximum level, and with enough time to actually integrate Burnes into the rotation meaningfully before the playoff push intensifies. Every additional start Burnes makes as a Yankee before the deadline matters. Getting him in mid-July versus late July means additional starts, where he can build familiarity with the catchers, where the defense can adjust to his tendencies, and where he can get comfortable with the organization's approach to game planning. The value of those additional starts compounds as October approaches. The one bold move that could save the Yankees season is clear, it is achievable, and it is sitting right in front of the front office waiting for the commitment to reach out and take it. Trade for Corbin Burnes. Pay the price. Make the statement. Give Cole a genuine partner at the top of the rotation and trust the rest of this talented roster to do what talented rosters do when they believe their organization is all in on winning right now. As of July 20th, 2026, the Yankees have the resources, the need, and the window. The only remaining question is whether they have the boldness. Because bold is the only thing that saves seasons before it is too late. Warning entertainment disclaimer. This content is based on publicly available information, reported sources, and analytical opinion as of July 20th, 2026. All analysis represents commentary and opinion for entertainment purposes only. No affiliation with MLB, New York Yankees, Milwaukee Brewers, or any individuals mentioned. Trade speculation does not represent confirmed transactions. For official team information, visit Yankees.com.